Hey, hello, ujambo mtazamaji mwenzangu, my subscriber, my liker, my viewer, how goes it? How is your life? How precious is your life? Do you know that life is as precious as you value it and others do value it? Yes, life is precious. Life is beautiful. Life is full of grace. Life is full of goodness, mercy, kindness, all the good things that life is attributed to. Well, tuko riadha, what do you think? How is it in your corner of the world, east, west, south, north, and central? All are included in this episode. This episode is quite an interesting one because it's calling for justice, because the blood of our sister Agnes Tirop is still crying from the ground. Where is justice for Agnes Tirop? Who is Agnes Tirop? She's an international runner that was murdered in 2020 by an estranged husband. And the story, of course, is captured the imagination, the thoughts, the fraternity of athletics around the world. I've spoken about Agnes Tirop, and I can add the names on my list. Rebecca Cheptegei, who perished in the hands of a lover or a partner, and many more who's been victims of femicide or gender-based violence. Why Agnes Tirop today? I promise that once in a while, something will catch my attention and I'll bring her into the update of what has befell the family. And what has befallen the family in Kenya of Agnes Tirop is not good. Let me say that. Because when justice is delayed, well, you know, is justice denied. So last few days, there's been drama in court in Eldoret. The drama has to do with the fact that the judge sitting on this case had to suspend the hearing because the estranged husband, whom I'll never name him again because he doesn't deserve a space in my platform, hasn't been found, has been located because the police in Kenya has failed the family. I say they have failed the family because it's quite interesting, I'll say that. Because when Kenya police wants to find somebody, they will find that person because they did that with a young man this weekend whom they went all the way to Homa Bay, the far end of Kenya, 300 kilometers away, because this young man had rattled the snake in the police system. The cage was rattled and the snake wasn't happy. They went and found him, tortured him, and he's dead. Police can find whom they want to find. They can trace him. They haven't traced the suspected killer of Agnes Tirop to this day. Why? I'll tell you why. This is just my opinion. It could be a Kenyan opinion. They're lazy or they don't find interest. They might not find monetary interest in this case. And the judge is allowing this case to linger on and have justice not delivered for Agnes Tirop. And so the case was in court, and the father, Vincent Tirop, is still crying for justice for his daughter. Okay? The prosecution had asked that this man, whom I'll never say his name again because he doesn't deserve to be said, was an escape risk kind of suspect. The prosecution told the judge when they asked for bail last time around, the judge ignored the warnings. And the estranged husband is still hiding somewhere in Kenya, in a cave, on a tree, in some parts of Kenya, I don't know. But Agnes Tirop, killer, hasn't been arrested and prosecuted in Kenya, and police can sit back or they can tell us they haven't found him, yet they have the capacity and the expediency to go find an innocent man in Homa Bay in Kenya, and they pretty much, as alleged right now, murdered and tortured him to death? Come on, Kenya. Are you telling me you can, for all these years, since the 2020, 4 or 5 years later, you haven't been able to track down the killer of Agnes Tirop? Is a complacency? Is injustice? Is appalling as an indictment of a failed system in Kenya that Agnes Tirop hasn't found justice. And the killer was in the hands of the police, and the judge released him on a bail. So the activists came to town these last few days, and they are demanding justice for Agnes Tirop. They are, so am I. Because you know what? To say that we cannot track this idiot, this suspect, this murderer, this lampoon, this whatever, this buffoon, all kind of names can be piled on this guy. Because he stabbed his wife to death because he had no powers over Agnes Tirop. What a coward. What a coward. You stab somebody and you're still running away from what? If you're really a coward, if you thought you had the powers, whoever your name is, you'll be found. And the blood of Agnes will never rest until you're arrested. I say this because I think the system has failed Agnes Tirop and the rest of the women and those who have suffered in this country. And for Agnes and for all those, justice will one day reign supreme. Yes, those activists, led by the father, Vincent Tirop, including Tuko Riada, will never rest until justice is found for Agnes Tirop. She belongs in this family of athletic. We, the Riada fraternity, will keep saying justice, justice for Agnes Tirop. I say this because everybody knows that the system, if it decides, it puts all its focus on finding justice for Agnes Tirop, it will. Apparently the judge is like, I'm giving you 1 month to arrest the loose killer. A month. It's been 4 years. I hope they find justice for Agnes Tirop. I'll end with another story that is interesting for me on this Tuko Riada. The GST CEO, Michael Johnson, has canceled the 4th slam series on Grand Slam track in LA, UCLA track in California. I'm reading that it's because of finances, that if they cancel this one, they are saving $3 million out of the 30 that he had invested, or the company or some company had invested in this series, the slam that he started in Jamaica, Miami, and they were in Philadelphia. If you notice in Philadelphia, they have squeezed it from 3 days to 2 days series. I've been very skeptical of the whole thing. I think if you go back to my episodes, I wasn't enthusiastic. I gave him a voice. I gave him good luck. I say, Michael Johnson, wish you well. It seems it has come to a dead end. It was predictable for me. It wasn't sustainable. The prices were too high. The quality of the events were too low. The fans. It's interesting how Michael Johnson blames Jamaica to have been the beginning of kind of unsuccessful series or slam. I don't think that was it for me. I think the whole package, as I kept saying here, wasn't good enough. The quality, the fans were not coming in, and the cameras, like I kept saying, was playing tricks on us. It was an empty stadium. It's sad, but I think it's just that I think it was rushed. It was too optimistic, over-projected. Yes, GST has come to an end. Cancelled? No, it's a dead end. Some of these things people think it looks easy on paper, but to recalibrate all that and put it in place whereby it's going to be successful, it takes a lot of work, it takes a lot of advertisement, and track and field and the sport event by itself is struggling in America audience. America audience, I kept telling you, they are not into track and field. And when you take away shot put, you take away javelin, which is a muscle game, and you know Americans like that muscle event, and you just say track, just sprinters. The longest was 5,000, no pole vault, no discus, no, whatever those field events are. And Michael Johnson, I think that was your downfall. I'm giving you that, and I think the depth of the athlete, the professional that showed up was very narrow. It was very America-centric. It didn't go as global enough. You had Agnes Tirop. You had Mary Moraa, who has been on a downward spiral in performance, which is kind of an interesting and is worrisome for Kenyans in the 800 meters. She's been very mediocre, to say the least, Mary Moraa. I've given her kind of flowers when she's performing, but this series has really sucked the life out of Mary Moraa. I'm not a big fan of her performance right now. She needs to reinvent herself going into the World Championship if she can qualify in the trials. It's a worrisome trend. I'm glad Emmanuel Wanyonyi left this GST and is in Oslo. I hope to see the results that I talked about yesterday. Yeah, Michael Johnson, you are good, man. But I think you overreached, and it's come to an end. On that note, on that end, Agnes Tirop, justice for Agnes Tirop, must continue to be voiced in this platform. I'll talk to you guys later.